Over a year after former Prime Minister Boris Johnson apologised to Parliament for participating in parties, he has recently just faced the Privileges Committee to state his case about the parties and to state his case against allegedly misleading Parliament. This is Unbiased Today, and today we will be covering the Partygate hearing and the reactions to it. Before we begin, make sure that you subscribe for more news about the verdict of the committee in the near future and like the video if you enjoy it. During COVID restrictions that were in effect in November and December 2020, members of Parliament, including the Prime Minister, attended a series of parties, with 2 being held in November and 1 in December. 4 days later, in a mock press conference, Downing Street Press Secretary, Allegra Stratton, jokingly referenced the parties.
Would the Prime Minister condone having a Christmas?
What's the answer?
I don't know.
It wasn't a party, it was cheese and wine.
Just be clear, it's not.
Is cheese and wine all right?
No.
It was a business meeting.
I'm joking.
It is recorded. This fictional party was a business meeting. And it was not socially distanced.
The clip of this was then leaked to ITV News and forced the Prime Minister to respond. At first denying knowledge of the parties, he soon apologised to the Parliament as further evidence unfolded, stating that he thought that it was a work-related event. He further apologised after the final report of the parties and police investigation had been finalised. On Wednesday, Johnson was tried by the Privileges Committee to investigate whether or not he deliberately misled the Parliament. Johnson maintained his position that he believed that it was a work-related event and he did not see any excessive drinking, and also stated, in regard to his observation that the gathered was a work-related event, that exemptions were made within the restriction guidance for business meetings.
Multiple bottles of alcohol in the bottom right-hand corner of the photograph. Would you say that that is strictly necessary for a work event?
It's customary to say farewell to people in this country with a toast. I didn't see any sign of drunkenness or excess, and had no knowledge of, I don't know why anybody would have been fined for that event. I don't know what happened later on. I'm saying that we followed the guidance completely, that we were following the guidance to the best of our ability, which was what the guidance provided for. And the guidance provides for freedoms within the practical framework of the operation or the business to decide how you're going to implement the guidance. Businesses are entitled and asked to decide what practical considerations they wish to give to implementing the guidance.
He also called the committee's questioning of his advisers complete nonsense.
The question is, why did you not take proper advice?
Sorry. The answer is quite simply that over the, and I've tried to describe what I felt about these events as they were happening. Nobody raised with me or had any concern before I stood up on December the 1st about those events.
You did not ask.
I asked. I did say this is complete nonsense. I mean, complete nonsense. I asked the relevant people. They were senior people. They've been working very hard. They gave Jack Doyle gave me a clear account of what had happened.
The Cabinet Secretary.
How the Cabinet Secretary wasn't there?
Leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, stated after the hearing that Johnson showed total disrespect for the national sacrifice.
And that's why I found the pandemic parties in Downing Street under Boris Johnson so reprehensible. The circus of the last few days. A reminder of his total disrespect for a national sacrifice. That's why I said I'd resign if I'd broken those same rules.
Members of the committee believed that he had misinterpreted the guidance and called his explanations flimsy. TV show host Piers in response to Johnson's observation that drinking at the gathering was essential, pointed out that families were not allowed to meet with dying relatives, suggesting that others could not take part in essential activities. Conservative ally of Johnson, Stephen Greenhalgh, stated that nothing in the evidence showed that he knowingly misled Parliament. The committee may consider imposing sanctions on Johnson depending on the final verdict, which may include suspending him from the House. If he is suspended from the House for more than 10 sitting days, a recall election would automatically be triggered in his constituency, which may result in him losing his seat in Parliament. Do you think that Boris Johnson could or should be sanctioned based on the evidence delivered? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe for more news on this story.